We just came out of an epic indoor world champs, and the hottest meme in track right now is a BBC News Twitter shitpost. Honestly, they were kinda cooking with this one. This week's header was the NCAA Div 1 Indoor Track and Field Champs. And holy crap, some of these results. Where were half of these kids at last week's World Champs? The first big performance came from Wayne Pinnock in the men's long jump. We saw this event struggle distance-wise at World Indoors. But in the NCAA, different story. 8.40 meters, a new world lead, and a measurement that would have won the World Champs by 18 centimeters. So not only would have he taken gold, but he would have done it with all 4 of his made attempts. And it also wasn't just him, the entire field went hard, with 5 jumpers going over 8 meters. The next results would come from 2 distance running stars. The women's 5K was absolutely dominated by Florida's lone Terminator, Parker Valby. Only a few weeks ago, she debuted in her conference champs, cruising her way to a 30-second win and an NCAA record. This time, she'd try only a little bit harder.
On a scale of like 1 to 10, it was probably like a 6 or 7.
She just needs to deftly get by these runners that she's going to be lapping. Parker Valby, the junior from Florida, the only collegian to ever break 15 minutes, and she breaks her collegiate record down to 14:52.78.
She'd win the national championship by just shy of 23 seconds, having to dodge and lap other runners across the line to her second NCAA record in her second race of the season. She'd then try to imitate art the very next day on 1 hour of sleep, taking out the 3K title as well. Another meeting record, but missing out on her rival of last year, Kylian Tui's collegiate record. If she decides to stick around for another year, she could wipe Tui from the books. The men's side would showcase 1/3 of the talents of the Young family. The eldest brother, Nico Young from Northern Arizona, taking the 5K title, with a brutal sprint last lap to leave everyone else behind. But what really made this impressive is, like Valby, he'd come back again the following day to take the 3K title as well, and in a meeting record.
Make up, it's going to be Nico Young completing the double, 5,000 meters Friday night, 3,000 meters tonight, and he wins it with a meet record, 7:41 flat, now 7:41.
7 minutes, 41.01 seconds. Also, shout out to North Carolina's Parker Wolf, taking second in both races. Now, let's talk sprints. The men's 60 meter was stacked. Terrence Jones, the NCAA record holder, was there, and every single athlete in the field had a season's best of 6.58 or under.
A little bit of a blip for Jones at the top of the set, but he's just so good through that dry phase. He defends successfully. Looks like maybe...
Still, it would be Terrence Jones to take the win in 6.54 seconds, a revenge race of sorts after having been disqualified last week. Behind him was a blanket finish, with Kaylin Walker walking out with the silver in 6.59 seconds. The women's 60 would see the domination of Jamaica's Briana Lyston again. Lyston ran the fastest time out of all conferences 2 weeks ago, but this time...
Good start for Kayla Jackson and also for Briana Lyston. Here comes Jackson, but she can't catch Lyston. Lyston's going to win it. Jackson's second.
7.03 seconds, getting that personal best and the second fastest time in the collegiate 60 ever. That being behind Julian Alfred, and don't ask what Alfred ran though, because she wasn't human last season. In the 200, Terrence Jones would be back, and you'd think this guy ran them regularly the way he doubled. 20.23 seconds, a stunning time for his third indoor 200 meter ever. And in second, the man who just got out of Div 3, Chikna Traore, running 20.30. This time faster than his conference champs time, which he ran on a flat track. Not sure I've ever seen that before. The women's 200 saw the return of the freshman stunner, Jamisha Ford. After taking her conference title the other week, she'd go ahead and take the national one too. And convincingly at that. 22.34 seconds, a new personal best, and she's only 19 years old. That's some potential. The men's 400 would be heavily anticipated, starring Christopher Morales. The unofficial world record holder would be back, and in legal blocks this time. And boy would he run this race like a world record holder should, going out hard and leaving everyone in the dust. But surprisingly, Robinson from Texas A&M would be licking his heels. And this wasn't Morales running slow. Robinson just ran the race of his life. Morales took the clean win in 44.67 seconds. but Robertson comes in at 44.91 seconds, a personal best of 0.7 of a second. And even better, both of these times would have won gold at the World Champs the previous weekend. The women's 400 also saw an interesting storyline. Arkansas would go 1-2-3 to absolutely put every other women's 400 meter team to shame, with Amber Anning specifically taking the win in 50.79 seconds. She didn't even run an average race by her standards. She's run sub 51 every race this season, and she's done it 5 times. What a queen. Ironically though, Arkansas got DQ'd in the women's 4x400. Taking a break from the NCAA, let's head to the news. Unbeknownst to me, Tia Jones, world record holder for about a week in the 60 hurdles, missed World Indoor due to a torn ACL. Apparently she did this at the US Indoor Trials, and shit man, that's tough. Hopefully we see her come back in form for the Olympic trials. This week we got 2 Bolt comparisons, one being Mbappé, don't even make me laugh, and Xavier Worthy, who now holds the fastest 40-yard dash time in the NFL.
Here it goes. Oh!
The problem with this is Bolt never ran a legitimate 40-yard dash. Thanks to TRP for that one. And even then, Coleman smoked the entire NFL as a college student. Case closed. Lastly for news, the world's fastest accountant, Amo Dudsey, got signed by Nike. His story is one of a kind, but summed up, he started sprinting at 27, broke out at age 31 with a 9.93 second run, and represented the UK at the World Champs last year. If you want to know more, here's my poorly made video on it, or just Google it. Pick your poison. Back to the NCAA action. Women's high jump fans be eating well out here. The massive favourite would be Jamaica's Lamara Lyston, who broke the NCAA record only 14 days ago, jumping over the elusive 2-meter barrier. But out of absolutely nowhere, Rachel Glenn would come out with the least likely victory of the entire championships. She smashed her previous best by 6 meters to equal Lyston's NCAA record of 2 meters to take the win, and Lyston followed in a close second at 197. This performance is legitimately nuts. A 2-meter jump would have won the indoor champs the week prior. An Olympic upset could be in the cards with all these 2-meter jumpers emerging from thin air. The women's shot put winner has been going semi-viral lately in track circles, Mya Lesnar. That's right, the famous WWE wrestler Brock Lesnar's daughter. She's been making her rounds in the NCAA, winning her conference champs, and now a national title. (18.53 meters) in a close win, but holy crap, the resemblance and athletic prowess is uncanny. With a build like this, I believe Brock legitimately never took steroids in his life. The women's 800 would set the stage for another upset. Michaela Rose ran the second fastest time in the NCAA ever the week prior, and no one else in the field had a personal best under 2 minutes. But that's what championships are made for. Rounding the final bend, Stanford's Juliet Whitaker would surge past in a massive display of grit and a new meeting record and personal best.
Whitaker goes wide and she's going to take the title. Juliet Whitaker.
Both girls go sub 2, and Whitaker now places herself 3rd on the NCAA all-time list. The men's 60 hurdles featured Caleb Dean, who ran the 60 meter prelims, the 60 hurdle prelims, qualified for both finals, finished in a tight 6th in the 60 meter final, and then 40 minutes later, lined up for the hurdles final to take the win by a hair's width with a perfectly timed dip.
Dean now with a little bit of a crack, but here comes Brackens. I'm not sure who leaned it out first. I'm giving it to Dean. He got it.
It doesn't get much closer than that. 7.56 seconds. To execute like that with 4 races in the legs, what a man. And lastly, the women's 60 hurdles would neatly be taken out by Jasmine Jones in a time fast enough for her to net a medal at the World Champs, which truly has been the theme of this year's NCAA Indoor Champs. I don't talk about high school results in this recap series often, but we saw 2 stellar performances at the New Balance US High School Track and Field Champs. 16-year-old Quincy Wilson destroyed the 400 meter field in a time of 45.76 seconds. Do you know how fast that is? That would put him 4th at this year's indoor champs in the final, where the US didn't even have a representative. What an absolutely absurd thought for a 16-year-old. This kid isn't even in his final year of high school, and he broke an under 18 world record.
Now I think it's my turn because I'm coming up to the upper generation now. I can't wait to I hope I can be able to make the team and things like that, because right now, is looking forward. I think I may go to the trials this summer.
We also saw a legendary Caitlin Tui record fall. Elizabeth Leachman laid down a destructive 15-minute, 28.9 second 5K to yoink the old record by over 8 seconds. And she's quoted saying, "The last 600 was hurting quite a bit." At the end of the day, I feel like comparing these performances to those of the world champs is a bit of a cheap shot. There's a different pressure being at a world finals surrounded by the world's best, as opposed to your country's best in your own age group. Unless you're Christopher Morales, that is. That guy totally would have won worlds. Thanks for watching. See you next time.